Okay, let's hope this looks good. I'm going to start this video off by telling you guys, girls, beings, angels, no devils, a story. So in high school, Akira, I talked about this, I was insecure. In freshman year, I didn't know about styling or how to dress. Junior year, I started to get a little better in that. So I started to receive compliments and I gained more friends, right? Now, although my style got a little better, that didn't change how I felt about myself. I still felt insecure. But what was really bad about this year, in junior year, there was this girl that I literally have never saw for the full time of me attending that high school. And let me just say, this girl was so drop dead gorgeous that, like, I'm not even trying to glaze. I didn't even know the human body could manifest itself in such a appealing, beautiful way. Like, I was literally, when I saw this girl, I was in awe. Not only that, but this girl, like, every guy liked her, or almost, at least to me, I believe every guy liked her. Like, she was just tea. And I mean, who wouldn't like her? Like, she was bad, like princess archetype, like walking Cleopatra. Like, let me stop glazing. Okay, I feel so weird for glazing, but this girl was bad. And so it's weird. This was such a weird period in my life because I've only experienced intense jealousy twice in my life. First was when I had a crush on this guy and he liked my cousin, and I was so, like, in distraught. I felt like that's literally how I felt. Like, I was so upset. The second time I felt jealousy was in this moment. Like, this girl was just, she was the beauty standard to me. So to see her, it just made me feel so bad about how I looked. Now, when people talk about jealousy, they just believe that only, like, if you are not attractive, it's going to be easier to feel jealousy, right? And you might say, Akira, you're not ugly. Like, why do you feel jealousy, right? Or why do you feel jealousy in that moment? But a lot of people, I think they're not mature enough to understand that it doesn't matter how you look or what you own or how successful you are. Anyone can feel jealousy, because if you don't love yourself, then none of those accomplishments, none of those privileges, pretty privilege, none of that doesn't mean anything if you don't love yourself. So if you're insecure, even if you were attractive, which I don't even think I was all that attractive. Like, I honestly don't think I was. But even if you're attractive, that doesn't mean anything. Like, if you don't love yourself, that it literally means nothing, right? So, yeah, back to my story. I was extremely jealous. Now, comparing how I was in high school to now, everything is different. And I really think this is because of meditation. Because now I learned to love myself. Now I learned that there's no need for me to feel jealousy. And this is a big accomplishment for me, because during that period of time when I felt that jealousy, I turned to a person that I didn't even recognize. Like, I don't even want to, okay, I'm going to admit to you guys what I did during that time. I was so jealous that I used to stalk her Instagram. I would copy what she wore. I would try to copy her mannerisms. Like, I wanted to be her. And like I said, I never felt jealousy to that extent. So to see myself act in this monstrous, jealous, weird way was so weird. But then I realized, like, I was grateful now being out of that space and state. I'm grateful that I experienced that, because the truth was that jealousy, that insecurity was always within me. It just happened to be that girl brought it out. But you guys have to understand that all feelings that you have, anger, jealousy, sadness, it's always in you. It's just that you experience that sadness when someone comes along. So it's not them making you sad or jealous. You were always insecure. You just didn't realize that. So going in that situation made me realize that that insecurity was always within me. I just, like I said, the girl happened to bring it out. Um, this was a big transition period for my life because it forced me to reflect on why I was insecure. Because when they say jealousy is a disease, it really is. Feeling that amount of resentment and jealousy and anger towards the girl, and feeling a lot of hate and self-doubt towards how I looked, towards my beingness, was such a terrible thing for me to carry. I hated feeling jealous. I hated resenting a girl that did nothing to me. Like, I hated carrying that. So it forced me to try to reflect and see, okay, Akira, why do I feel like this? Like, this is not normal. This is not something to normalize. And I wanted to talk about this because on TikTok, on Instagram, and media in general, when women express their feelings of jealousy, they normalize it and say, well, it's normal to feel jealous. And I don't believe that's true. If jealousy was a normal feeling, then why does it hurt so bad? Why do you become a completely different being when you feel jealous? Like, it's not normal. And we need to stop confusing something being valid versus something being normal. Because it's valid if your whole life you were told you were ugly and stupid. It's valid to feel jealous when you see someone that you believe is more competent than you. Obviously, if you were told you were ugly and stupid all your life, obviously it's valid to feel like that. But just because it's valid, you shouldn't normalize feeling this jealousy all your life. Why would you want to normalize that? Jealousy and those angry feelings are like a burden. I compare it to, you guys know Gaara from Naruto, how he has like that sandbag? It's like carrying that sandbag, that weight all your life. Why would you want to feel that? So no, being jealous of pretty women is not normal. A lot of girls say, well, she's pretty, so how could I not feel jealous? No. You have to stop blaming your jealousy on how pretty someone is, how successful it is. Because it's not that makes you jealous. The jealousy was always within you. They just happened to bring it out. That's why I had to learn. And I only learned that through meditation. I hope my camera is good. Okay, let's just go with. I only learned that through meditation. Because when I meditated, I realized that the reason why I didn't like myself was because I didn't even know who I was. I thought I was who everyone told me I was in middle school, which was ugly, which was stupid, silly, weird. I identified with the mean things people told me. But it was only till I meditated and I realized that I am not those identities. I'm not any identities, period. I am just this stillness, this presence. I am just this being inhabiting this human body. I'm not these identifications. And only if you meditate, you will understand what I'm saying. But I want everyone watching this to know that they are perfect. And when I say perfect, I am not perfection to me isn't defined by how well you meet a certain expectation or standard. That's the westernized version of perfection. True perfection is just stillness. You are as perfect as the present moment. Would you want to change the present moment? No, because the present moment just is. That just isness, that I amness is perfect. That is perfection. That is what every one of you, girls, guys, beings are. You are that awareness. So when I realized who I actually was, it was so much easier to love myself. This is a very interesting thing I learned, but when I was younger, I was incredibly lonely. Like, after I went to classes and dismissal came, I would talk to my friends, kinda, but then immediately, right, I would go home and go to bed, turn off the lights, put the covers on, and for the remaining of time, just lay there. That's so unhealthy, right? But I realized that because I used to think the reason I felt unlovable, I felt stupid, was because I didn't have friends, was because I didn't have people in my ear telling me, you're great, you're awesome. I thought that validation was secure for my feelings of inadequacy, but that was completely false. The reason why I felt inadequate is because I didn't love myself. It had nothing to do with loneliness. It had nothing to do with me not having friends. You could still feel complete if you don't have that much friends, because what completes you is the love you have for yourself. And I didn't realize that. And I know that's such a cliche saying, right? But when you actually understand what that means, it will take you far in life. No amount of things, no amount of, when they say pretty privilege and being successful, riches, that's cool, right? But no amount of validation you get from other people will ever heal a broken heart. Duh, this is why you see famous celebrities all the time. They have all the fame, they have all the money, the riches, but they have no love. That's why they are empty. That's why they are shallow. You need love for yourself. That is, and I think that is the goal in life. The reason why we are in this human experience, and although it subjects us to poverty, to terror, to loss of loved ones, right? The reason why we are in this experience is to find love within ourselves despite our circumstances. And I've heard this theory, I don't know whether it's true or not, but they say that we pick our souls, we pick the people, like our circumstances, right? I truly believe we, whether it's pick or handcrafted for us, I think we pick these earthly experiences in order to learn how to love ourselves, because once you love yourself, you have everything. Self-love is the prize. That is everything, okay? That right there is everything. And I realized that, just because someone is pretty, that doesn't mean I'm bound to feel jealous. I used to think that was normal. I heard so much women saying it's a normal reaction. It is not normal to feel jealousy. It's not normal, right? And another thing, in high school, it was hard for me to have friends that were more attractive or successful or smarter than me. And I wasn't devious, I wouldn't like yell at them or like make them feel bad. I just felt very inadequate, insecure around them, which made it hard for me to express my full love for them. But now I'm at a place where I have friends that are smarter than me and attractive than me. A lot of women hate to admit that their friend is more attractive or smarter, right? It's okay. Like, I don't feel bad for saying that I have friends that are smarter than me. That doesn't make me a less person. There's always, guys, you also have to realize there's always going to be a person that's smarter and prettier, right? I'm at a place where someone's smartness, someone's attractiveness does not affect how I feel about myself. That is what self-love is. So I could admit that, right? But like I said, I have friends that are prettier and smarter, and I don't withhold love from them. I see them as equal as I am. I see them as another being experiencing this human life. So I'm able to give them love and care for them. And that is beautiful. That's what everyone, every woman, every being should be able to do. And I'm so happy I'm at that state. Actually, when I felt that jealousy during high school, I prayed because I asked God, I wanted him to remove that feeling, because I did not want my feelings of inadequacy to get in the way of me showing love to my friends or my family just because they're successful or doing better things than I am, And this was my goal, and this is still my goal. I want to become a full-fledged being that can give love freely, right? To give love and not feel like I have to withhold my love because someone is better or doing something. I want to just be a free being, right? That was always my goal. I'm slowly doing things to help me reach that goal. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about that. I want you guys and girls and beings and everyone, angels. I'm going to start calling you guys angels. I want all my angels to know that you don't have to feel jealous. If you knew who you were, truly who you were, beyond these identities, then there would be no need to feel jealous. You would be able to acknowledge everyone at a human level, because when you are jealous, when you feel jealous, all that is telling me and all you are telling yourself is that you cannot acknowledge the humanity in someone else because you believe that them being more attractive grants them more privileges, grants them more accesses that you can't access, which in your mind makes it's okay and acceptable for you to not love them, to not support them. So you're basically saying that someone that's prettier and successful has more advantages and more opportunities than you, which is not true. Because I've seen people that doesn't even have a high school diploma that's able to be successful. Okay? Do not limit yourself. Don't limit yourself to these categories, you know. You are beyond categorization. You have to love yourself fully. And that's why I had to realize, like, I can't categorize people and say, oh, you're pretty, so you automatically have a great life. Or this person is rich, they automatically have a great life, so I'm going to withhold my love from them because they have it better than me. No. We are all human. We all struggle. And there's another part I want to say. I relate to this because I grew up in the two-parent household, mom and dad, and I had a bunch of friends with only one parent, and they kind of looked at me as the person that had it all because I had two parents, but they didn't realize that I struggled. You know, I had a lot of negative feelings. They didn't understand that. So I think in their mind, they withhold love from me because they thought I just had love, which made me feel even more lonely, right? And that's how I think about these people that's more attractive or rich, you know. They probably are the most loneliest people in the world because people just think that they have it all. But most of them have nothing. It seems like they have it all, but they have nothing. So I want you guys to love yourself. Because when you love yourself, not only does it feel good, but when you love yourself, you are granting yourself access to be able to love everyone else more, despite what they have or what they don't have, you know. And that is perfect. That is the privilege of being human, because the more you love yourself, the more you could find love in others, right? And I'm learning that. And yeah, I want everyone to just enjoy their human experience. Tomorrow's Christmas. Well, this is not going to come out on Christmas, I doubt, but enjoy your human experience and love more, okay? Stop withholding your love from others. Express your love freely. I hope this video helped, and I'll see you next week. Bye, angels. Love you guys.